This video might be a little random to some people, but if you have any topics you'd like me to discuss, comment down below and maybe I'll discuss it next time. Or, ask questions. I might even do a Q&A, who knows? So let's just get into this. So I just want to start off by saying never forget who you are. Don't ever let anger consume you. No matter how familiar the chaos might seem or how comfortable it might make you, just never give in to that part of yourself. A lot of you might understand this completely, but sometimes people need a reminder, Sometimes I I give in to my anger sometimes, and I do regret it. I do. But it happens, and sometimes when I feel angry, the best thing I can do is to try to put that energy into something else. Maybe something I enjoy or even a hobby. One of the things that kind of helps me, deal with sadness and anger is I've been writing in this journal, and maybe I'll show you guys one day what's in it. If you ever feel like your emotions are too much for somebody to handle, I think one of the best ways you can deal with that is writing it down. And I can promise that there's always going to be someone out there that will listen to you. Maybe not right now, but maybe in the future, you never really know. And maybe you don't have someone that will listen to you right now, and honestly, that's completely okay. People always say that it sucks to be alone, but in my opinion, there's really nothing being like wrong with being alone. I've been alone a lot of my life, and I've dealt with emotions alone. I mean, I have friends now, but there was a point in my life where I was really lonely, but I kind of grew up to realize that being alone isn't really all that bad of a thing, no matter what people say or how people make it look bad. One of the things, though, was when I was alone, I felt a lot of anger. I felt a lot of hatred towards people, and I remember people had maybe done me wrong, and I felt anger towards them and wanted to get revenge, but then I realized that it's not really going to solve how I feel. And I can tell you right now to never really act on your revengeful thoughts, never actually act on those, because it's not really going to help you no matter how much your anger tells you it's going to. I can promise you 100% you're still going to be angry. I think the best way to get revenge, and this might sound really cheesy, but I genuinely believe this. The best way to get revenge on somebody is by moving on and being happy and not dwelling over it. Anger will make you think a lot of things, and I can promise you that is the truth, Anger will make you think that revenge is the best option, and I can tell you right now that it's just not worth it. It's not worth getting revenge. And it might be hard to cope with getting over something. Maybe someone did something terrible to you, and it might be hard to get over that because you're angry or even upset, but the real challenge is getting over it mentally. Because fighting someone or arguing with someone is really not going to solve how you feel personally as a person. And I feel like a lot of people understand this, but I had to think about this the other day. It's such a simple thing that people know, but sometimes we kind of forget it, and I feel like it's kind of a nice thing to remind people of, just never act on how you feel. And it might be hard, but you have to deal with it, one way or another. And as a human, that's what we do as humans, we deal with these things one way or another, and I can promise you hurting someone is never going to make you feel better. Never. It never ends well for really anybody in the, situation. This is a random story, but I remember in middle school that there's these guys that threatened to jump me. It's because I stood up for a friend of mine. They were bullying one of my friends. I don't even remember what they called them. They were calling him emo and stuff. And I remember I lashed out at these guys, and they threatened to jump me, and I was genuinely scared of that. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I was scared of getting in a fight, but then I realized I don't have to fight them. They threatened to fight me after I lashed out at them and stood up for my friend, and they threatened to jump me. And then I thought, there's another way through this. I think that they still were mad at me. Well, the main guy of that group, the cool guy of the crew. But I remember confronting him when he was alone, and I was terrified. I was so scared of like talking to him. I thought maybe he was gonna fight me, but he was alone, and I think he was surprised that I talked to him when he was, standing alone there. His friends weren't around, and I told him I never want to fight you, and I shook his hand, and it was a weird thing. I shook his hand. He actually shook mine. He wasn't really talking much. I think he was nervous, and after that, he still, I think, was mad at me, but I ended up not fighting because of that, I believe, and later on in high school, I remember making friends with this guy, and it was such an odd thing. I knew this guy once before. He threatened to jump me, and then it turned into this thing where me and him were alright with each other. He was still a little immature, but, I mean, who am I to judge? But I still think about it, and I'm always proud of this moment. I was really scared of fighting, and growing up, I realized being kind like that to people who might have done bad things to you it's a nice feeling. It really is, and I think that resolving things through words instead of fighting, it's such a cliche thing to say, but I really think that we can achieve a lot of things that way. And people forget about this so much, and I feel like it's always good to remind people of these type of things. But yeah, I was angry at this kid. I didn't want to fight him, but I wanted to hurt him. I wanted to hurt him, but I was too scared to fight. So that's kind of how it ended. But something else I realized, after this situation was you should never really think of yourself as a bigger person for, finding the peace and stuff like that. And I know that might sound kind of weird to some people, like, what are you talking about? That should be something that you're proud of. But truth be told, I feel like if things were different, that would have been me. And the roles could have easily been reversed if things in my life were different. And I think a good thing is to realize that people have different upbringings, and I was really lucky to have people who taught me what I know, and not everyone's lucky like that, and it's rough for some people, but I think that the way that we can achieve peace between people is understanding that people go through different types of pain. People can do really horrible things, but sometimes it's the upbringing that gives people that, and it just keeps causing more and more cycles of hate towards each other. And I feel like it's impossible to break that cycle, but it's never bad to still be a good person. Just never give in to your bad self, never give in to your anger is what I'm trying to say. But maybe you've made a few mistakes in your life. I'm not judging. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I always think about this thing that I wrote back in middle school. It just kind of came out of nowhere, but I wrote this. No matter who you were before, how you look right now is who you are now. And I think that I felt a lot of guilt about how bad of a person I was at times. I made bad decisions, and I wanted to restart everything, and I realized that that's completely impossible. But doing nice things, you might have made bad decisions, but that cannot stop you from changing. Don't let your past self change you, no matter how familiar the chaos is. No matter how easy being hateful is, never give in to that. Because you'll never be able to confront yourself, and you'll live your life full of regrets. Obtaining these type of thoughts is a really hard thing, especially when you're going through hard times at the moment, but just remember that this is the right thing. This is the right thing to do. And never forget that. Never let go of who you are, or who you've become, or who you were. Never let go of that. I have a really good friend that told me this. Being hateful and angry is the easy way through life, and I completely understand that now. And being nice is really hard. And just remember that you should never give up on trying to be nice.